is Ashley Eckstein, voice of Ahsoka Tano, and thank you for listening to the Super Awesome Geek Show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Super Awesome Geek Show. Today we got a special guest on the comic show. It's George from Gmoss Designs, sorry. And, of course, we got Bazzer with us here, Dark Lycan. Thanks for showing up and coming with us, Baz. Chris, the 1000th Ghost, is also here on our panel today. So, George, let's get right into this, man. I think I'm going to pop you right up here. George, what? So I guess you've got a graphic. The reason I asked you was I think it was the graphic novel side of things. You've got a comic graphic novel that you've got finished, right? It's on sale right now, right? Yeah.
Yes. It's called The Chronicles of Ann and Lo. It's an illustrated novel, and it's based in Miami. It's about the brother and sister, Ann and Lo. Their older sister. She's an activist in the community. She's also a DJ. She brings all the cultures together. And she was basically kidnapped in the beginning of the story. And she was kidnapped by a regime called the Shadow Regiments that are basically trying to rescue her and save the city of downtown Miami. It's like a sci-fi fantasy novel with a lot of history as well. And there's some Black history elements in history about Miami.
That's cool. That's cool. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing was, I mean, when I was starting to get to know your work and what you do and going through your website, we're going to have to look at all this in a few minutes as we go through our conversation here. But I was blown away by the entrepreneurship that you, or whatever you want to say, that you have, because you've got clothing, you've got an action figure, you've got, I mean, it was just like endless creativity seemed to be pouring out of you when I was digging into your website and you know, so I mean, like, I guess I just gotta, like, it's almost like, where do we begin is kind of how I'm feeling. You know what I mean? So maybe like, what is your background, and maybe give us a little bit of your story up to now and what kind of got you into all this stuff, you know?
Well, I went to school at, it was a college called International Fine Arts College, but it was changed to Miami International Art Design University. I went to school there and got my degree in commercial art. So I was doing graphic design and illustration. And long story short, I was looking for work in the graphic design illustration field. And I was sending out my resume to so many different places. I was praying because, man, I've got my degree. I got great grades. I couldn't find work. I started working at this tax place part-time, and then I was doing illustrations and doing freelance logos and things like that. And then I ended up landing my job, first job at Perry Ellis International in Miami, and I was doing technical illustration. And when I landed the job in the interview before I got my job, my future boss was saying, "Do you know what you're here for?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm here for the black and white illustration job." He's like, "No, you're here to design men's clothing." So I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Great, I just need a job." So I ended up illustrating for them for a while, and then there's another company that called me over there, and at another company in Miami, and they asked me to do technical illustration for them, and they also wanted to train me in sewing construction and how to inspect the garments and different things like that. So I learned how to design clothing there. Had wonderful mentors. Doris and Ricardo from there, they taught me about fashion. And then I met another mentor there. He taught me about garment construction and washing instructions of jeans and different things. So I ended up having a background in the fashion industry. I was in the fashion industry for about 20 years. And I have a love and passion for comics, animation, and cartoons. So I ended up on my break, I was always writing and I was always sketching. And there's a lady that she said, "Oh, you like to write?" So she got me this book. This is at another company. I worked at a lot of different companies in the fashion industry.
Yeah.
She told me, she's like, "I'm going to give you this book." And it was a blank book. I said on the cover, it says "Writing from the Heart." So my break, I would write just ideas. And I just believe God just would flood ideas during my break. So I write them down and I sketch. And And then, long story short, my brother's good friend, Christine Carrick, she's a comic book artist. She also works, she's a forensic artist. And she's like, George, I'm going to be releasing my graphic novel. It's going to be at Comic-Con, and you need to come out there. I'm at the time I was at my full-time job, and I love what I did. And I was like, what's Comic-Con? So she explained to me, and she says, you need to come out here. And she knew I had characters. She's like, George, you need to come out and see what this is about. So I took a week off for vacation and went to Comic-Con, and it was the biggest and the best thing that I ever did in my life at the time. I was like, man, I was amazed. I felt like I was home. I was in my culture with people. And when I went out there, I had like a little folder with some characters that I had. And my background was in fashion, so I had some ideas for clothing and fashion with my characters. So I brought them out there, and it was crazy because I didn't have the business mentality that I have now. And I met so many different people. I met the Don Levine, which was the creator of G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
I met I forgot his name, but there's another gentleman that he was like the co-creator for Static Shock. And I met all these people.
Yeah.
And it was like I was not really ready for this. It was like, and when I met the president, the co-creator of Static Shock, he was like, I showed him my portfolio. Oh, this is great. He's looking through, and he's like, okay, George, so where's your business plan? I was like, business plan? I was like, I don't have one. And he's like, passes back. He's like, okay, call me when you have a business plan. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
But,
I get what you mean, man. It's like you go to Comic-Con for that first time and you got your stuff with you, but you're not quite sure what's going to happen, what they're going to ask for. If you show anybody stuff, you don't know what, you know what I mean? That's not part of your mindset yet. And then you got to come back. Then you got to come back home and learn the business side of things, right?
I did.
Yeah. So did you contact him again?
Oh, yes, I did. Many years later, this is when we had LinkedIn, and I let him know. I said, hey, I met you at Comic-Con many years ago. And at the time, when I had my business plan finished, I called him, and I didn't get a phone call back. But when I contacted him on LinkedIn, I told him that I had a business plan, and I told him the conversation. He's like, do you have a business plan now? I was like, yes, I do. And I'm using it. So, cool. But he was very cool about it.
Wow. Let's say hi to a few people in the chat. We got Mr. B here. Hey, Mr. B. Rolando, good to see you. Good to see you. Salacious Rum. Good evening, friendly human people. Hello. Mr. B says action figures.
If you haven't noticed, that's another way you can get us: comic books and action figures.
To everybody in the chat, hello to everybody when I drive. I'm listening and driving, I guess he's doing. All right. Just don't crash. Hello, all. Ghosties here in the chat. Geek Strong, hey, everyone. You're also driving and listening. Look, we're their drive home entertainment today. What's up, Sags, Gmoss, Baz, and Ghosty? Hey, G-Force.
Yo, G.
So good to see you guys. Thanks for popping in. If you guys have any questions in the chat, feel free to write them in. We'll pop them on the screen as we go along. So, George, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get to your website here and share the screen, if you don't mind. And we'll look at a couple things because, I mean, like I said, there's fashion, there's action figures, there's graphic novel, and then we'll get a little bit more into I want to get a little bit more in depth into the story and what you got going on with Ann and Lo.
Wow.
So,
thank you.
So, I guess in the first part is like, you've kind of talked about your background a little bit, but how did you get to the point where you decided you were going to make your, or I guess, I mean, like, did you do the graphic novels ideas first and then do like the fashion and the action figure? Because the action figure, I feel like, is clearly based on the graphic novel, right? Some of the characters and the design with that go along with that, with Ann and Lo, right? Or is that more you?
the
Am I reading into it the wrong way?
Long story. I started off with let me scale back.
Yeah.
I got into comics. Like my friend Christine Carrick, she got me into going to Comic-Con. And when I came back, it was like a year later. I think it was like a year later. I was talking to my best friend. I was like, look, I'm gonna try to see if I can check out this show. It was called Orlando Con in Orlando. I said, if I'm able to get this table and I can afford it, we're gonna go. And we ended up getting the last table. It was $50. Me and my best friend drove up, and I started out with poster prints of my characters. I didn't have a story at the time. Then I had T-shirts, hoodies, snapback hats, and bags with my characters on them. And I went out to Orlando Con, and we did well with my work.
Wow.
So
you were merchandising your stuff before you even had a story.
Yeah, that's what I knew how to do. I knew how to do
yeah.
I love cartoons. I love my characters, and I didn't really have a story at the time. And then I started doing the circuit with I'm not sure if you're familiar with Florida SuperCon. That was with Mike Broder back in the day.
Yeah. Okay. The other Florida SuperCon, the one that was at the. There was one at the airport I went to at one point, and that was, I think, its second location. And then it went to somewhere. It was somewhere else before that. Because before I moved here, I was coming down and visiting my parents, and I would go to Comic-Cons. I would plan like a Florida SuperCon or a MegaCon or something around the same time. So I would come down, spend a week with them, and then spend the weekend at the comic convention.
Nice. Yeah, the Florida SuperCon, it was originally, I think it was in a couple of hotels first. When it started, it was in the Hollywood Hotel.
Yeah, that might have been it. Hotel.
And then it went into the Miami Airport Convention Center.
Yep, the airport. Yeah, that's right.
And it just grew from there.
And then someone bought it, right? Which is now it's owned by someone totally else, right? It's
correct. It's somebody else. I'm not sure who, but actually, I think it's Reed Pop.
Is it Reed Pop? Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yep.
But we had so much fun at the Florida SuperCons.
Yeah.
And I always had my portfolio there because I had the chances to meet with and see Marvel comic book artists and DC comic book artists that were there. And I'd always see there's a very kind gentleman, Mr. Alan Bellman.
And you familiar? Yeah, I love Alan. I was every time I came down, I'd see him at a show, and then eventually his wife gave me their number, and they had me over for dinner one night. I loved those guys. Were the best because Alan had such stories about being in the bullpen back at Marvel. Oh yeah, that was so good. He was such a great guy.
He was amazing. Yeah, he was. I would always show my portfolio, and he would always tell me, he's like, George, every year you come by and show me your portfolio, and I had my artwork, all of my characters, and he's like, stop playing around and get your book done. And I was like, what book? So I was like, okay. And I didn't even think about having a book or anything. But then I thought back, I said, I don't know. I'm thinking to myself, I don't know how to write. How is he telling me to write a book? But then I remembered on my break at my full-time jobs in the past, I was writing down my notes and different things like that. So I compiled all of my notes together, my characters and then a little bit of history from Miami and things that had happened in my life, and I put it together in the story called The Chronicles of Van and Lowe. And then when I finished it, I showed it to him. I went back to him, and he's like, George, you're just so happy for me. And he actually became my mentor after that.
Wow, that's
and
cool.
From there, he always encouraged me. I'm not sure if you know, but he had passed in 2020.
Yeah, I knew. Yeah.
And he was my mentor all the way up to then.
Wow.
Always looking out for me, always trying to put my name in a room where I wasn't, and he always tried to encourage me, and he encouraged everybody. And
he was such a good guy.
Yeah. But he's the one that got me to finish my book, and he's the one that got me to do that.
That's cool.
So that's what the Chronicles of Van and Lowe were born, and from there, I did a comic. I also have a comic for it too. This is a comic version, and And then I also have a film script that I would love to have an animated film. I have a film trailer
Oh,
for
that's
it.
cool.
And it's on my website as well. And I just want to keep it going and be able to. I'm actually working on the. Excuse me. I'm actually working on the continuation of it now.
Yeah. If you need to get some water, go get it,
Excuse
man.
me.
I got mine right here. So we got Gilster's here. Gilster, how you doing? Jonathan, good to see you. Connor at Fuller's Figures. How you doing, Connor? What is he? George will be proud.
I think he means because before Star Wars was out, George Lucas went to one of the original San Diego Comic Cons and took a poster and some stickers, and that was about what he had, and some T-shirts to promote Star Wars.
He was merchandising it a little bit before he even did anything. Yeah.
George is always a salesman before a filmmaker in a way.
As a person I love to meet, I look up to him a lot as well.
Connor says, I love hearing that someone would give their time and experience to mentor others. A great gift to give back to people. Yeah. Yeah. That is true. That is true. So let me add your where we got here. There it is. There it is. All right. So look at that art, man. That is good.
Thank you so much.
So you're not only a good use of pencil and color, you can actually like really do some good illustration and everything.
And
that
character right there in the middle, that was a costume my family and I made for my book launch at Florida SuperCon years ago. And it was amazing. My mom and my dad and myself, we sat together, we sewed this mascot. And my dad was like, I'm gonna wear that costume and we're gonna promote the Chronicles of Van and Low. And people were so shocked when they saw it. And my dad is the correct height for my character too. So it was perfect, and it was awesome when it came out. People enjoyed the time. We had a great time when it came out.
That's cool. That's awesome that your dad is so willing to like do this stuff with you. You know what I mean? It's so cool.
Yeah, I'm thankful. And then the Fashion the Comics book that you guys see there, that's a workshop that we put together to encourage and mentor people in fashion and also comic books. And that book talks about
this
my
one,
journey
fashion to comics. Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm. And it's basically just sharing my journey about my mentors. So I told you about Mr. Alan Bellman, and then Doris and Ricardo from the fashion industry. They taught me all about fashion. And I share a little bit of the importance of mentors and how they can be an encouragement. They were so encouraging to me to allow me to learn from them. And then I was able to put together
tonight a music
Gmoss
producer
Designs
puts his heart into sharing
and the Chronicles of Van and Low and all these different things. And it's just been a blessing.
That's cool. And then I mean, I saw up top that you do workshops here. Yeah, here's the graphic of it. Workshops by Gmoss. So are you doing the same thing then? Are you taking the lessons that people have mentored you? Are you trying to give back in the same way and then mentor others with those workshops? Is that what's the deal with the workshops?
I love to encourage people, and I've had, like you said, I've had so many different mentors in my life, and we need to encourage people to use their gifts and talents. If I didn't have my brother's friend Christine share with me about Comic-Con, I wouldn't even be here. It was because of her that I found out about Comic-Con, and she encouraged me to work with my characters because they were just sitting in my sketchbook. They weren't being seen by anyone, but she encouraged me. And I always want to encourage people, you might be at your 9 to 5, or you might be a kid in school, but if God gives you an idea, you can use that. You can build upon it. You can create stories. You can create your own film, your own animation, and you don't have to wait for someone to do it. Like we were talking about earlier, about TikTok and all these different avenues that are available to us now. We can start now. All you need is a sketch, just the idea, and you can start from that. You build from that sketch. From the sketch, you can put a name on it. You can put the weight. You can put a background where this character's from. From that sketch, it could become a character. That character can become a product. That product, once you sell that one item, you can purchase, I don't know, maybe a sketch pad. From that sketch pad, you can sketch a character in it. You can make a copy of it. You can sell a print of it, and then you sell enough prints, you can get your laptop or you can get your iPad. And then from that iPad, you can learn programs. You can maybe do your own animation. There you have your animation, and then you can cross-promote with your animation, your characters, and then your comics and everything. I mean, there's just so many opportunities that we have, and we just need the encouragement from somebody. And
I like your train of thought there, because like some people look at something, and when they come up with an idea, they look at the whole picture at one time and go, "That's too big for me to do," and they talk themselves out of it. But what you were just talking about is like tiny steps.
Mm-hmm.
Take a step and let that step lead to the next step, and let that step lead to the next step. And before you know it, that grand picture you had, it's all there. You know? One step in the way, one step at a time, right?
It's true. We need encouragement from people. Like I've had so much encouragement from friends, from family, and then there's also others that have discouraged me, and I had to get away from those people.
Yeah.
But we need to have, like, I want to be a person to help start a spark, to be an encouragement to somebody, and then somebody else can be an encouragement to somebody else, and then somebody else blow up big and encourage and help their community. Like we're like I shared with you some of the events that we're having in North Miami Beach. That's what we're trying to do, is just to try to encourage others to create their own work, you know. And
yeah, are those on your events page? Do you have a, speaking of?
Sorry about the speed.
No, it's all right.
Well, this event is called Artist and Author's Journey. This one's going to be in December. And it's basically an event that was a spin-off event from an exhibit that I had last year. Last year, I had an event called 40 Life Journey, which was an event that I shared my work from all the way from elementary school, all the way up through my corporate years, and all the way up to Gmoss Designs, which is now. And some of the people that attended say, "Hey, I want to be a part of something like this," and I'm an artist and author. And I was like, okay, you know. So we put together. There's 14 artists. All of them, they're creative. Some of them are retired professors. Some of them are scientists. Some of them are chemists, and they're all professionals in certain ways. Some of them there's 2 of them that are music producers.
Wow!
But they all do art, or they do, or they have books, and they're motivational speakers too. So this is an event that I'm hoping that they'll become mentors to others. I'm sure they already mentor people already. But this is an event that they're going to be selling their work, sharing their books, sharing their art, and also they're going to be sharing their journey, just like how I'm talking, and you give me opportunity to share my journey. They'll be doing that on December the 16th. That's going to be in North Miami Beach.
Nice. Our community, we're really close. We love to rib on each other. G-Force is saying, "See, Connor, encouragement breeds success, not the constant belittling of your friends."
Yes.
And then Connor says, "I just make you try harder, G-Force." He's like, "Oh, the lesson makes sense. It's tough love."
G-Force.
But we got a question here. Do you prefer pen and paper, computer, or a hybrid of both?
It's all of the above. I love pencil. Pencil and paper is my whole favorite, but people are like, "Oh, we need color." like pencil and paper, but I love pencil and paper. I love computer, so it's a hybrid of both. But I say both.
Yeah.
Do you do your initial sketches on paper and then you kind of move to your iPad or whatever and then fill it out?
Go onto the computer. Correct. But I love it both. I love to work on the pencil. I love computer as well. I like them both.
Mr. B is saying you've got a bunch of talented people at your event there.
They're so amazing. I'd say there's 3 of them on there that are mentors of mine. They've always been so encouraging me. I'll tell you about one, Dr. Hogues, Dr. Ralph Hogues. He's a retired professor. I met him at a book festival, and this is many years ago. And he says, George, I'm thinking about putting together a writers group. How would you like to be a part of something like that? I was like, yeah, I'd love to be a part of a writers group. So years later, he invites me to the writers group, and it's like a group of creative minds, and from ages from like, I guess they're like, I think the youngest is 12 and the oldest might be in their 90s. And we all come together and everyone encourages each other. They teach each other, and then they share whatever they're doing. And he's just one person that's at the Artist and Author's Journey event. There's others that are they're very, very talented. There's another lady, she's a mentor of mine. Her name is Miss Glenda Finkelstein, and she's the author of sci-fi books. And when I was writing my story, The Chronicles of Anne and Lo, she'd always encourage me. And even before I published it, she encouraged me, and then she continues to encourage me to this day. She's gonna be coming, so I'm so grateful for her, because I know she'll be a wonderful encouragement to the people that are coming.
Wow.
And these are some of my cut and sewn garments. The ladies, the left, it's a hooded vest that I created for the ladies. Remember, they used to get mad at me at different events and say that I was always designing for men, but I didn't have anything for the ladies. So, and they were a group of them that were really upset with me. So I was like, okay, I have to figure out how to make this.
Yeah.
So I was thankful for the opportunities and mentors that I had, that I was able to create some ladies' garments too.
That's cool. Man, and the spec sheet, everything. Wow.
Very cool.
Thank you, guys.
I think
somebody
that's
who's basically just thrown into designing clothes. That's really good.
Yeah, that was like a total God thing, man. I didn't plan that at all. I was thinking that I was gonna be doing graphic design, illustrations, and then after I think probably 40 different resumes that I sent out, that's when I first landed my job in the fashion industry. And it's interesting because when I went to college, I actually like urban hip hop clothing, and I was like, man, it'd be so cool to have my own line of clothing.
Yeah.
And when I went,
I could definitely see the urban hip hop influence. You know what I mean? Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. When I went to college, I was like, I don't know how to sew. I can't do that, so I didn't. And I took graphic commercial art, and then it was funny because I couldn't find a job in graphic design illustration. And then the first job I landed was in the fashion industry. So it was like, oh man, I should have tried back then. But I think it's just funny how I believe God does that. He'll throw you right back into where you're supposed to be, even though you go to a different direction, you know.
Yeah.
So it's been an amazing journey, and it's still going now. I'm very thankful.
And then you got your character here with is that a little like a backpack clip? You know, you put on your wherever you want to.
It's like a keychain, like
wherever you want to hang it. Then
right?
Yeah.
I wear it around my neck. You can put it on your keychain.
I always see people clipping those things to their backpack zipper. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's like a.
Yep.
It might be a Japanese thing or whatever. I don't know, but this is what I mean. I mean, it's like you've got like every little thing you could think of, and you've designed it all yourself and put it together yourself, and it's quite impressive. I gotta say, you know, it's encouraging to see someone who any idea. It almost seems like any idea that comes into your head, you're willing to give it a shot. You know what I mean? At least now in your life, right?
Yeah, I think, like I said, I just thank God for my mentors. And I had one mentor in particular. This was at the second company I worked for. His name was Jesus Suarez. He was from Cuba, Cuban exile, and he lived in Colombia for a long time. And he could build anything from sketches. He taught me. He says, George, any sketch that you create, if you can put measurements to it, you can build it. He was a fashion designer, because I helped him with his fashion line, one of the companies. But he designed anything. He could design shows. He could design anything. He sketched it out, and whatever he could put measurements to, he could build it. And from that, I was encouraged. And it's like when you can draw, there's like no limit. You know, there's like no limit of what it's possibly can create. You know.
Wow. Yeah.
So, and then this is the Chronicles of Annie Lowe.
Well, I mean, the trick is like, I think because I tell you, with a lot of times throughout my life, and I hear someone who's got an idea or they just want to do something creative, they think it's too much for them to handle. It's too big, and they just discourage themselves and talk themselves out of even giving it a chance. And what I like about what your message, the way you're talking, is just kind of like, I constantly feel like your idea is to sort of break that down into something small to start with, and take steps along the journey instead of trying to get the whole thing done. You know what I mean? Like you can almost talk yourself out of it because you feel overwhelmed by your big idea. But you look at it as a way to like start small with your first little thing and let that idea grow into something big later on, and eventually your full picture idea will come to be. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm just there's just so much I talk about in the Fashion and Comics workshop that we have. I talk about taking the sketch. Once you have that sketch, and then you can build upon it to create.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You know, like, yeah, just start with that sketch and build upon it. You know.
I think, like, I know we'll probably talk about this a little later, but like Beyond Comic Con is an event that we have, and my parents and I had an idea from the Fashion and Comics workshop that we had. We wanted to bring this encouragement to others through an event where people can learn and grow and be encouraged. So this is back in 2014. We had this idea, and then when the pandemic hit, we're like, you know what? We wrote up a plan, and we're like, we need to do this event where we can have people come, learn about, and I was thinking about fashion, about art, about film, about writing, and all these different talents, just to be encouraged. And then we can also have an opportunity for people like us to sell our work and to get exposure and then make these connections.
Yeah.
And the thing is that this idea was just too big for us alone. And but we had to plan it. Once we started planning it, and once we took action toward it, God brought in all the right people, and people came together. People believed in our vision, and I'm just so grateful. I mean, and in the first event, I'm still a little nervous about it, doing it. The first event happened, and I was thinking to myself and the people that were all together with us, I was thinking, okay, we put this together, and I'm praying that if this works, then people are going to come behind us, and it's gonna keep going, and people are gonna support us. And then right after the show comes, right after the end of the first show, one of the commissioners come in. He says, "I'm gonna help sponsor you. I'm gonna help support the next show." And boom,
Wow.
That's when I was like, you know what? This is real. This is what God told us to do when we did it. And it was not just something that was in my head. It was not in our heads. It was real. And people wanted to come together. They still come together to help put this show together. We're building the third year for February right now. And I truly believe when you put pen to paper, you write it down, and you take action with it, opportunities come at you. Because if you don't put the pencil to paper, you don't put the plan out together. What does God have to work with you? If you don't take that step of faith and that effort to write it down and plan it and then take action, then it's not going to work, and you have nothing to work with. Like for an animated film, for the Chronicles of Van and Lowe, how is that going to happen unless I have help? But I have to write my story. I have to have my script. I have to have the characters right. And then I have to take action. I have to go out and meet people. I have to talk to people. And just like I met you, John.
Yeah.
At this event, I was there. If I was not there, I would have never met you. I would have never had this opportunity to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
And
well, the other thing too is what's interesting about getting together with a group of like-minded, artistic people, no matter what field they're in. Like if you've got an idea and you're like, I can write this thing, but for the love of me, I just can't draw. I can't get my characters to come out right. You might meet an artist at one of these events and he might like your idea and you guys can work together then. And if you hadn't gone or put yourself out there, you wouldn't have met that person,
That's right.
And you could collaborate on something if you both like the idea,
And
that goes with anything. I mean, like say you're a great artist and storyteller, but you want to make a film, but you don't have a way of making the film. You might meet a cameraman, you might meet a director, you might meet, you know what I mean? You just never know. You just never know.
But it's taking that first step, like you said. You don't have, if you just sit at home and you're like, oh, I wish, Ann and Lowe could be a animated series. But you taking the step to get some of the animation moving, kind of get the look of the backgrounds, the look of the characters, all that moving, then like you said, that gives God something to work with and can move. Somebody at one of these shows will see it and say, that looks really good. I want to be a part of that. And, or that looks really good, but I could tweak that just a little bit and make it even better. But if you don't take that first step, you can't, I'm one of those people who have had really great ideas most of my life, and I've just sat at home and done nothing about it. And I've always regretted that. And it's great to see somebody who has an idea and really wants it and is going for it and is doing it and is getting done what needs to be done to get their idea working.
Well, I think that it's never too late for any of us. It was, when I first started out with my clothing line, I met this really nice couple, and they gave me the opportunity to put my clothing in their store. And it was cool. I've had many good conversations with them. They told me about this book called Failing Forward, I think it was called.
Yeah, I've heard of that book. Yeah.
And I believe it was the story they had in there. It was talking about the Kentucky Fried Chicken, the Colonel. Or I forgot the name of him. Well, anyway, look him up. He started like in his late 60s when he was sick. I think he was bedridden, and he had the idea of the chicken sandwich, or he had that idea of something. And because of his time down, like for a lot of us had the downtime in 2020 when the pandemic hit. And okay, what are we gonna do? We can't work, so we gotta use our heads. So when he was sick, he got the idea that now that we're all eating when we go to Kentucky Fried Chicken. If he didn't get sick, he wouldn't have had that downtime to sit down and think. And we would have never had Kentucky Fried Chicken if he didn't get sick.
You're probably right.
A bad situation, but Colonel Sanders, yes. But because he was because of what happened to him, now we all can enjoy the chicken sandwich and the potato wedges and all those good things, you know. So
yeah, the small twists of history that get you places are all one foot, one step in the beginning.
You know, George, you know, I think well, I want to get to the Zan and Low stuff, but I mean, G-Force brings up another good thing. I don't think he was trying to really ask a question, but it does bring up a question. He's like, I tried woodworking for a while, but it's difficult to price your work. Folks expect a bargain, but a single person can't compete with mass-produced items. Like, do you find some of that even in your work, or how do you get around something like that? Like, I think number one, going to Comic-Cons and finding like-minded people for your interest helps a little bit, because people, when you're at a show like Comic-Con, they're willing to give something a try that isn't mass-produced. You know what I mean? That is from an individual creator. But maybe in the woodworking world, that's harder to find that spot. You know what I mean? But I mean, what do you think about stuff like that? What, you know, individual versus mass-produced, you know?
I think one-of-a-kind items, like if he does woodwork, you said?
Yeah, he said he tried doing woodworking, but it's difficult to price his work, you know?
Maybe he can find some sculptors. Like one of the gentlemen that's going to be at our event, Artist and Author's Journey, he's a sculptor. And we've been friends for years, and we met when we were at, I have so many stories, but we're at, we're down in downtown Miami in Bayside. We used to have this place called Bayside Artist Square where we used to sell our work. And there was all these different types of creators. And this is where I met him. He's a sculptor, and he'll sit there and he'll talk to you. He'll just be talking, and he'll be chipping away and creating a piece of art of sculpture. He works with metal art too now. And the things that he wasn't able to sell, then he would probably give away, and he would price them however he wanted to price them. He would price them. You know, I mean, a lot of people, they can compare their work to everybody else's, but if it's an original piece and it's from your head, then it's not like everybody else's stuff. You know, I think it's also about who's willing to pay for your work. When you go to this is mass produced is different from custom. Yes, right. That's right. When you're doing a piece that's custom, it should be high volume, high quality, or high price. It shouldn't be like I used to create original pieces on like a cap or something, and it would take me like 2-3 hours to do, and I can charge more for that because of the amount of time, how much I think my time is worth. I can charge that. But if I want to charge just like everybody else that's mass produced, I can do that too. But I mean, I can charge more. I can charge $50-$60 for a cap versus a $25 cap, you know, or a $15 cap. And then I think we need to be in the right places too, because you know, when you're in a place competing with mass-produced work, sometimes our stuff gets overlooked. Maybe that's not the right place for us.
Yeah,
you know?
Like he's saying, woodworking and tradesperson shows similar to cons.
Yeah,
but
I think it's because you get the opportunity to talk to the creator. You know, at the shows, we didn't talk to you as the artist and the creator of the work, and it forms a bond that people are willing to spend more money with you because they feel that they know you. And that's the same thing if you know, if G's going to do that, then to go to the woodworking shows or an antique fair and, you know, get a little booth there and talk to the people, and they'd see the quality of work that you guys do, and they're willing to pay for quality.
Oh, yes.
As opposed to just something they're ordering online.
Yeah.
Say.
This is a little bit off topic, but like the way George has been talking about.
You never go off topic, you know that.
Last year, I've just kind of gone to customizing, George. I've been thinking about it for years, never had the courage to do it, and I was talking to one of my friends that does a lot of customizing figures and all that, and he says, if you don't do it, you'll never know. So the first thing I ever did was I found a Stormtrooper that was battered, and I ended up finding a Harley Quinn head, and I basically made my own Harley Quinn Stormtrooper.
Wow.
That was the first thing I ever painted, and now I've got ideas in my head on other characters that I want to do.
Yep.
Because
Do you have that one handy? Do you got it? Let's show it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Where's my? Let's bring up Baz here. Show his creative work.
I just destroyed the shelf, but I'll sort it.
Wow.
Oh, that is awesome.
We were talking one night about it, and then had found the Stormtrooper body.
That is so cool.
Head, and then I just started messing about with it. So this
That
is the
is
first
awesome.
thing that I've ever painted.
Wow.
It looks good, Baz. I like it. Yeah.
That's
I love
amazing,
it.
bro. So that's your own creation.
That's my my own.
There you go.
Creation.
Exactly. Yeah.
Salacious should provide that from you.
If I was talking to Rory, my friend Rory, about this, I mean, he was doing the Power Rangers, and he's done his own kind of his own version of a Ranger squad, but it's all females.
Wow.
He's basically taken all the colours, and he's basically got just bought Rangers, and then he's went and bought female characters to go with each colour. And we were talking about this. I says, I would love to do a Harley Quinn custom. And he says, well, if you don't do it, don't try. And I just happened to come across his body and I spearhead, and it's like, should I do it or should I not? And I just started messing about with it, and it's come out better than what I thought.
Wow.
Yeah.
GeForce wants to buy it. He'll give you $50.
There you go. See?
More than 50.
As I said, I've got an idea in my head at the moment, is that I love He-Man. My favourite character is Trapjaw.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to make a female version for Trapjaw. So the closest body that I could come across was this one. Was I can't remember what her name is now. This is Omega Sentinel.
Oh, yeah.
She comes with all the pieces, like different hand pieces. So this is going to be something in the future, but I need to kind of work out how I want her to be.
You're going to customize that figure into something else. What you're saying? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even though, it comes with the two heads, you've got like the red tape, and then you've got the head with the hair, and then it looks like she's got a metal plate across her face.
Yep.
So I have an idea, but this one took me a while to try and find this figure because it was still expensive, but I managed to find it cheap at the weekend. As you know me, John, I like a good bargain.
Yeah. So George, let's go in a little bit more to Ann and Lo. So you've got both a comic and a illustrated novel, I guess you would call it, right?
Correct.
It's not quite a full-on graphic novel. And Ann and Lo go on. So you were saying what? Ann gets kidnapped? Is that what you said?
I'm sorry. They have an older sister.
Oh, the older sister gets taken. That's right. Okay.
So their best friend is like their older sister, and she was kidnapped by a regime called the Shadow Regiment. So they're basically trying to rescue her and save the city of downtown Miami. I really try to infuse family and community and also history into my story as well. It's a lot going on there. But you guys can also check the trailer too. I'm not sure if it'll pull up on there, but that's something that I put the storyboards together, and then I sent it to a company, and they kind of followed a little bit of what I wanted, but you'll see it a little bit.
Yeah, let's play it. Let's see if you can. I hope that people can hear the sound here. Let's try this.
put the
Cool.
Wow. What was that, George? You were going to say something?
Oh, I was saying the music. A friend of mine, he's a DJ, and also he does a lot of different stuff. But he put together the music for me. Put it together with the trailer.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But see what I mean? It's good. It's good to know people. You got someone in the music world that can help you out with that. You know, like when I did the I don't know if you saw it, but there's a big documentary I did about Transformers.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a friend that still lives in Seattle that helped with the music on that and the sound effects, and then a couple other guys helped with some of the graphics and photography and things like that went into that. So,
wow.
You know what I mean? It's sometimes it's like if you can't do it all yourself, you got those connections to sort of make it all come together. You know?
Yeah, you can't do all these different ideas that a lot of us have, these dreams. We can't do it ourselves. We need people.
Yeah.
And it's like when we put it down on paper and we take action, you know, we have the good heart, the right heart for it. People come together and they start believing in what you're doing, and it starts happening, you know. And that's what's happening.
That's part of building a community.
Yes.
Yeah.
The community will rally and help.
Mm-hmm.
So the book and the comic and a lot of your other things are actually on the website. You can purchase it right through your website, right? Are they available anywhere else or just basically just there for now?
Just that on my website now, and then through comic book conventions and different events when I sell them.
Yep. And now I got to ask a little bit about the process here too. So you illustrate and then to color it. Now, I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I'm seeing a little bit of airbrush technique in some of this. Is that?
Oh yes. Oh
Are
yes.
you actually using an airbrush, or is that like a computer effect that you're putting in afterwards?
It's computer. It's
okay.
Computer. Mm-hmm.
But you just like that style of the air, because I think it's pretty cool. I like the way that you've done some of these backgrounds and the way things look airbrushed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it kind of brings it to the street in a sense. You know what I mean? I don't know what you want to. You know what I mean? Like, you get what I'm saying, or what? I don't know.
Like, you know, I consider my style realistic, cartoonish. So that's and I like hip hop. I like R&B music. I like jazz. I like.
It's a weird thing to say, but have you ever seen the movie The Wiz?
No, is that with Michael Jackson or something?
Yeah, it's Michael Jackson, Diana Ross. It's a great movie.
I need to check it out.
The Munchkins, it all takes place in Brooklyn instead of Kansas. And so when Dorothy gets to the other side, she runs into what are basically the Munchkins of their world. And what they are is they're actually graffiti on the walls. And the graffiti pulls itself off the walls. And that's kind of the style you have, is because they're slightly airbrushed and they're not completely 3D. It's very cool.
Thank you.
Mr. B, what I thought was the action figure, I think, is the little keychain hanging guy.
Correct.
You know? Yeah. So I guess I want to know a little bit more. I mean, what I mean about the technique is like, do you sketch, like, say, take the comic book, for example. Did you sketch all that out and then put it in a computer and touch it up? Or did you, like, how did you go about creating that with your artwork and stuff? Like, where do you start? Do you start on pencil and paper and move to a computer? Do you do it all on a computer? Do you do it all on pen and pencil and then scan it in? Like, what's your process for making a piece like that? Like a comic?
I don't know if you remember, I think it was George Lucas that talked about doing storyboards with stick figures.
Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah. Well, I do the stick figures first. Years ago, I got this book called How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way.
Oh,
and
yeah, classic.
The circles and the stick figures, and that's basically how I start. And then I sketch them out, and then I take it to the computer, I color it, and then sometimes I might see a cool photo or like of a background or something, and then I might sketch that too. and then I put it together, like for the scenes, and then that's my piece.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
And like for a book like Anne and Lo, do you take inspiration from places that are actually in reality, like if you're walking downtown around Miami? Did you see anything like? Is there any? Can you think of anything where you're like, that looks cool? I want that background. Where you might take a mental snapshot of it, or even a photo on your phone, and then go home. Because there's some spots downtown where you're just like, you get the right angle. You're like, that is a beautiful cityscape. You know what I mean?
Well, the majority of my book takes place in downtown Miami. And years ago, when I was doing my book, I went down and snapped shots of downtown.
Gotcha.
And I was able to sketch out illustrate some of the backgrounds and things like that. Everything takes place, but it's based in the future. So
so you modify it, yeah, okay.
Actually, it probably looks similar to what it looks like now because all the buildings are so high. Back when I took the pictures, there wasn't so many buildings bigger than the Freedom Tower, which at the time the Freedom Tower was one of the largest buildings in downtown Miami, and now it's one of the smallest ones.
Oh yeah, it's like there's. Yeah, I gotcha. Okay.
So, but everything takes place in the future of downtown Miami.
Gotcha.
And in Lo
in 2099, I saw, right?
Mm-hmm. And in Lo, their world in Miami is a world of peace. It's a city of peace. All cultures came together in the beginning of the story. They're celebrating a unity. It's a unity event. All cultures are celebrating together, and then that's when the Shadow Regiment come in, and they kidnap the older sister because she's actually on stage, gathering everybody together. She's DJing on her futuristic turntables, and she is kidnapped right off the stage, and that's how the story starts. Wow. And they're basically trying to rescue her from the Shadow Regiment, and they got to find out how to fight these beings because they're not natural beings. You can't fight them in the natural. It's their spirit. They're half in the natural, half spiritual beings. So they have to figure out how to fight them, and how to find her, and how to get her back. So that's
what I was going to ask, if they're like a paranormal type, like a paranormal entity.
And then, do you have plans for the future with this story? Like, do you have an idea of where it could go? Like, if you did another one, or a second part, or continued on?
Oh, I'm actually working on the graphic novel. Is the continuation of it.
Gotcha.
It's some writing, but then it's mostly sequential art, and it's continuing on to the Shadow Regiment's realm, and it's basically all in that realm. Well, the majority of the first book is in Miami, downtown Miami in the future, but the second one is, the 90% of it is all in the Shadow Regiment realm. And my hope is to be able to launch that soon. I'm not gonna say when because I'm saying, I'm working on it. I'm actually on page 100, and I've been working on it for a long time, and I don't want to tell you when because if I don't finish, then I'm like, you said it was gonna be finished at this such and such city. I wanna be able to say, okay, it's done and it's complete.
Yeah.
But I'd like to finish that story, the graphic novel, and then eventually have it made into a film. That would be a goal, just like a lot of us creators have that goal.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about doing something on like, do you think you might try one of these projects on a future Kickstarter or something like that to help fund, something bigger like a film project or an animation thing or something to help get the ball rolling?
Well, once I finish the second one, the graphic novel, then I can start thinking about those things. Gotcha. But I think that I need to finish before I can attempt to say, hey, now it's time, and it's I have to do my part. I have to finish my part. So.
Hey, Duff Man, better late than never. How you doing? Thanks for being a member for 9 months. Duff Man's here. What's going on? We're talking to George at Gmoss Design about his graphic, his illustrated novel and comic book, and the Chronicles of Anne and Lo. It's pretty cool.
Thank you.
If you want to later on, you can. This will always be up, so you can catch it on the rewind, Duff Man. If you're late to joining us. So yeah, I mean, usually this show goes on for about an hour. We're almost there. Is there anything that we might have missed that you wanted to bring up, George?
Well, I'd like to invite everyone to come to Beyond Comic Con. That's a comic book convention that's going to be on Saturday, February the 17th, 2024. And there's going to be a place where creators come together. We're going to be selling our artwork, selling our comics, fashion, all these different types of creative products that we have. We'll also be having panels. There's going to be a panel with, let me get the flyer. I don't know if you guys can see that there.
Yeah, we'll bring you. Actually, what I'll do is bring you up bigger on the screen here. There we go.
This is the first, well, the one on the left-hand side, Mr. Elliot R. Brown. He's a comic book artist. Did the technical illustrations for Marvel back in the 80s. He's going to be sharing how to draw comics. It was actually drawing comics before computers.
Yeah.
And then there's a really nice couple. They're going to be there. They're called Paper Lab Studios. And then Jeff Carroll, he's going to be sharing a panel on why you like sci-fi. Canon Studios, that's Kiki Cannon. She's going to be there with cosplay, and she creates all different types of costumes, and she's amazing. Emmy Knight, she's an up-and-coming artist as well. She's going to be there with many other amazing creators, selling their artwork with their characters, their books, and it's going to be a great time of just connecting with everybody, selling our work, and learning in panels. I'm hoping that that future creators will be inspired when they meet everybody, and that they will be able to come out and sell their own work eventually at another show somewhere. But this is our goal, to be an encouragement to everybody and provide opportunity. We can't provide opportunity for everybody, but provide opportunity for people to come and share their work.
Yeah.
Also, the New York Film Academy from South Beach is going to be there as well. They're going to be sharing a panel. They did a panel on creative writing last year, how to create how to develop compelling characters. And they did a writing workshop last year, which was actually was this year, which was amazing too.
That's cool.
So I'm just thankful. It's been great.
Pete's across the pond. He'd have to come across the Atlantic Ocean. So he's like, that's a lot of swimming for me, I'm afraid.
You get a teleporter.
Yeah. And G4 says, you might want to look into coming to Joe Fest in June of 2024. A ton of us are going to be there.
Where is Joe Fest?
Up in Georgia. It's about an 8-hour drive for us.
I'll look it up. Joe Fest.
I think I'm gonna go this year just to see the convention and meet everybody, because I'm a big G.I. Joe fan. So
yeah, I'm gonna try and go this year too, since ICCCCCCCCC Con isn't until like October this year.
As I say, thanks to John for rekindling the love for the Joes.
yeah. It's Augusta, Georgia. That's where it is.
Nice. I have some friends in Brazelton, so I have to see how far that is from there. I can make a two trip
of it. Yeah. Chris, Baz, anything you want to ask George before we take off?
No, I went ahead and I picked up a copy of the graphic novel. So that'll
thank
be
you
here shortly.
Very cool. Thank you so much.
No, I'm going to take on what George says about having ideas and putting them to bit paper kind of thing, because I do have a few ideas for customs that I want to do. But I'm not good at drawing, but I know when you do your sketches, you know your own sketch kind of thing. So
that's right.
Once I kind of work out my ideas that I want to do, then I'm going to do a rough sketch, and then I can work from that sketch to the actual product. Like what you said.
Awesome.
Exactly. Well, George, I hope this was a valuable time for you. I really appreciate you showing up and talking with us. I mean, I gotta say, I love your ideas. I love what you're coming up with. I love the message you have and the motivation you can give to others, as well as your creativity. It's just incredible. I feel fortunate to have met you at that con, and I think that we're going to see more of each other, because I'm going to come out to that festival that you're putting together, this artist.
That'd be great.
And I'll probably come to the thing in February with the Beyond Comic-Con just to attend. Awesome. and see what you got going, because I like people who think the same way that you do, and I'm sure I'm going to meet a lot of other like-minded people at these events, so it's cool, Yeah,
we got to help each other.
Exactly.
We have a lot of people, there's plenty of people out there that can knock us down for the ideas that we want to do. We just need to be one of those people that encourage somebody.
He says, very inspiring. Thank you, Gmoss.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for listening. You be an encouragement too, Mr. B.
G-Force says the same. Thank you. Very inspiring. Yeah.
Thanks, G-Force.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you got a lot of the same attitude as a lot of us in this community, like Chris and Baz, everybody here, a lot of the guys, G-Force, everybody, like we say things like, I mean, it sounds cliche, but we say things like, it is truly one for all and all for one, like the Three Musketeers said. Everybody works together, and the whole community can elevate each other. To that, if you know what I mean, there's you don't need to be in competition with each other. We can work together, we can help each other, and there's room at the top for everybody.
Yeah.
That's right. I think that everybody, if they would just be themselves and they would have their own style. You can't mimic somebody's style because their culture's background is different, their upbringing is different, who they're around are different, their environment is different. If you would just be who you are, in your own culture and in your own environment, just come out with that. Who can mimic that? Everyone's different, Yep. And that just doing that'll inspire someone to be themselves and do their own work, I think.
He says that too. I like artists who inspire people. There you go.
Me too.
Truth. Hey, before we go, let me see the shirt you're wearing there, man. I'm Oh, nice. There you go. Cool. Okay, cool.
That's my mascot.
I kept seeing the top of the design. I wanted to see the whole thing.
Yeah, he's my mascot. That's Mo.
And he says, just being yourself. Yeah.
That's right.
And,
just be us.
He likes your art. You're a very good artist.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right, my man. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I really appreciate this. Chris, Baz.
Guys.
I'm glad. I'm thankful you guys got to sit on the panel with us today. Thank you so much for showing up. Thanks to everybody here in the chat. We had a great time with you guys. I think, George, you enjoyed their chat, right?
I had a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually like G.I. Joe as well. I don't have the collection like you guys do, but I have the DVD from season 1.
I've only got into G.I. Joe in probably the last year. Kind of thing, but it's all down to John and Scuba and all that, just getting me back into it again.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Awesome.
See you guys later.
Thanks,
Stay
John.
awesome.
Thanks you guys for having me. Appreciate it.